Is astrology a guide to aid us in mastering the universe? This is the Cosmic Community Podcast with Galactic Ambassador Stacey Dredd. This astrology report is for the week of September 3rd, and I was gone last week. We have much to catch up on. Of course, I always choose, these loaded times. Well, in astrology, every moment can be a bit loaded if you allow it to be. If we rest into the astrology, there is always something to become our pillow or become our footrest or something to prop our knees up on, because there's just always something there to work with. And last week was a big week where Mercury actually stationed direct. And so we had been in this process here in the cosmic community moving through Mercury retrograde together. And now Mercury is direct as of August 28th. And also last week we had the planet of Venus, our planet of love, money, trust, value systems, move into a new sign. So we have our love, value systems, trust, money, all in a new focus in the sign of Libra. And that is a home sign for that planet. So we have this planet, Venus, moving to her home sign, and she's moving pretty quickly. She's going to be making her way through Libra, and before we know it, she's out. So when we got our planets in our home signs, we want to make sure to focus on those things because we have extra energy being brought in to help with Libran themes, which is about balance. Libra represents balance, and we are still in Virgo season. We are in the very practical sign of Virgo now, and Libra is the next sign forward. Venus is ahead of the sun and Mercury, so our heart is represented by Venus, and she is already out there. Our heart is ahead, already making sure that we are providing balance in relationships in our own life, relationships with ourself, like our own physical body, with our spiritual selves, with all these different relationships that we have. Libra brings balance. This is also a place where if there is any type of justice that needs to come to a situation, this is where the law is actually represented, and there can be, you can see, like if you have court cases or contracts or anything that's like bound by the law, that we can see changes to this when we are working with the value systems with Venus in Libra too. So kind of our contractual agreements and the law structures that our life is sort of governed by, up for grabs also during Libra season. And another thing that Libra can also represent is just relationships in general. So we see these actual relationships with others in our life go under construction mode or get focused on just a little bit more when we have lots of Libra energy. So fun stuff to play with. Moving into this week, we have even more that happened last week on the 1st of September, because I'm going to be going through the month of September during this report is my main goal. So starting on September 1st, we had the planet of Uranus station retrograde. Been talking about this one a little bit as it's been coming up, because Uranus is in the sign of Taurus right now in the final degrees. There is 30 degrees in each sign. So when a planet enters and is at the first degrees, it's starting to figure stuff out. When it's in the middle degrees, it's really getting into the meat of what the work is going to be there. And then when we reach these final degrees, it's like a closing up. It's a closing out. We're seeing an end to all of the themes that Uranus has been going through in Taurus. Well, we still have a couple of years of Uranus in Taurus, but the finishing phase has begun. Uranus is the planet of awakening. Uranus represents change and the winds of change, and also just enlightenment. And this can also bring in issues with the nervous system, because the nervous system's all represented by the sign of Aquarius and the planet of Uranus here. And so, this is a planet not to be messed with, because this is a lightning strike type of energy. When Uranus wants to make a difference, it wants to create awakening, it wants to create enlightenment, it shoots out a lightning strike that changes everything in an instant. And so feeling the energy of this planet of Uranus very, very strongly as it is stationed retrograde here. And we are at 27 degrees of Taurus. So if you have planets or points at 27 degrees of Taurus or anywhere sort of near that, let's just say like 22 to 2 degrees of Gemini, that you're going to be directly feeling this, especially if it's on an ascendant point, or if it's on your sun, or if it is on your moon. There's going to be a personal thing that happens with this. And also, if you have planets or points at 27 degrees of any sign, there's going to be an effect that takes place. And a couple of other planets, outer planets, because Uranus is considered an outer planet. It's not one of the personal planets that's close into the Earth. It's a far off entity, just like Neptune and Pluto. And both Neptune and Pluto are at final degrees of their signs also. So we have some intense outer planet energy. And as I mentioned, the planets closer to Earth are called the personal planets. We got the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars. Those, when we have movement and we have aspects to those personal planets, it can be felt very, very personally. And then these outer planets, they create less of a personal impact and more of an environmental impact. This is like the themes in the world. This is like what everybody faces. The outer planets really define the sort of the mood and the mode of the outer world, and sort of the framework of which we're dealing with, which is at the final degrees. And all of these outer planets are about to, within the next couple of years, move into new signs, move into fresh territory, move out of these places that we have been working with these energies on for so long, into fresh territory. So these next couple years are very, very important in terms of the astrology and the astrological energy that is building, and going to be popping and moving into having a fresh start. And Pluto, that outer planet of Pluto, did just move back into the sign of Capricorn for the final time. We are having the closeout of some major, major energies. There is just this feeling that there is a transformation happening. Anything that isn't serving our highest good is finding its way out, and all of the rest of it is finding its way to stick around. And we're learning during Virgo season right now how to use our energies efficiently. Virgo is about efficiency, and it's about practicality. It's about reason. This sign of Virgo is ruled by the planet of Mercury, which is the brain. This is our thought process. This is our mental capacities. This is how we think. Mercury is in its home sign right now. So we actually have Venus in her home sign of Libra, and Mercury in their home sign of Virgo right now. Yes. And so extra power when we have these planets at home. They get comfortable and they start doing the work that they really are meant to do. And Virgo is also about detoxing. It's about becoming whole again in oneself. And so we have Virgo with us a bit longer. And so we want to use this practical, reasonable, grounded energy that also has this beautiful way of discerning what it needs to be focusing on. And so this time of year in the Northern Hemisphere where I live it's going to be fall soon, and it comes on really fast. And Virgo energy does very much go into that fall energy where we go, okay, this is what I myself am able to do moving forward, practically, reasonably, being grounded about that. We kind of are done with all the wild things this summer had to offer. So many options and ideals and different things that we could do. And then when fall comes back around, it feels like it gets a little more serious. And so this is where we use this discernment to say, what am I going to have energy to focus on moving forward? And what am I going to have to leave behind also, so that I can more efficiently and practically, reasonably move forward and take care of the things that I need to. So, 2 planets in their home signs right now, strong mental mind, strong heart also. And then we hit the month of September. I mean, just off and rolling with this new moon in Virgo. This has been, and we're still in the midst of this new moon in Virgo has been all about healing. It's been all about finding those things that are not efficient, that are not serving our highest good, and healing those things to help us to find that balance moving forward. Now, Virgo is another energy that works with routines. So there could be a change in the routine this time of year. We could be looking at, with a new moon, an opportunity for a new routine. And that's how we start the month off. We also have Mars at the beginning of September in the final degrees, yes, at that 28, 27, 28, 29 degree point, with all those other outer planets stimulating those themes, stimulating that desire to end these things that we've been working on for a long, long time, and looking at this future of new beginnings. And Mars is a very instinctual energy. It tends to act before thinking, which I guess maybe that's considered instinct. It's that knowing inside of us that the animals tend to show us, that true meaning of who they are, those true things about the species, that true instinct. And so as we move forward into September, and as we move forward into this week, we are feeling very instinctually driven. There are almost like the gut itself, from the tummy, from that low tummy, those lower chakra points, those root chakras are speaking to us. There's an instinctual, intuitive, there's these messages coming through with Mars here at the 29th degree, speaking to all of these outer planets about what it is that we're finishing and allowing space for the new. And so that is also this week we have Mars moving into a new sign. Now the 29th degree leads to the 0 degree of the next sign. So then we have that fresh start on September 4th with our physical body of Mars. Mars is our warrior spirit, our physical body, things that we're doing, the actions that we're taking. And Cancer is a more internal sign. So Mars is our physical body is going to move into a watery state where we're going to need a little more rest, where we're going to need a little more introspective time. Cancer is more of an introvert, and Mars is technically not. So this can be a tough place for Mars to be. There's going to be a desire for safety and security to move into that safe space that Cancer wants to provide. And September's a huge month, you guys, because we have the eclipses coming up. The eclipses are huge. They're our cosmic course correctors. And so in September, we get to have everything jumbled and set back into place by the cosmic forces here. So whenever we have eclipses, it's a time to make your plans in pencil, because the universe is going to come through and reorganize everything for you anyways. So definitely put your ink pens away for this month and get out your pencils and, most importantly, a big fat eraser on top of that pencil. And do not be afraid to use that eraser until it's gone, because there's just going to be this course correction. And we could think at the beginning of September that we know what's going to happen through this month and that we know where we're going to be at the end of the month. But with eclipses, you just can't always know that. On September 9th, the planet of Mercury is moving in to Virgo. And we get this finalized, let me look at that. Okay. Mercury entering Virgo. Yes, Mercury enters Virgo after finishing up all the work in Leo on September 9th. And we're not done with the retrograde, because Mercury retrograde does not end until he leaves his shadow. And so that's going to happen right around the full moon in Pisces, our first eclipse of this eclipse season. Pisces already has a lot going on. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, so it was always working on closing things out. And we have a retrograded Saturn there at about 15 degrees when this full moon takes place, and also that retrograded Neptune at 28 degrees. And so Neptune represents our dreams, our hopes, our desires, and Saturn represents our responsibilities. And this full moon is going to be sitting right in the middle of both of those. And we're going to be considering what the next steps are, what we need to, Pisces, close out so that we can then step up to our responsibilities, Saturn, that are going to be vibing with our hopes, dreams, and desires for the future, Neptune at final degrees of Pisces. So this is definitely going to be an emotional time. Pisces is the most emotive, empathetic, feely sign of them all. So the full moon in September is going to be quite a ringer. It could feel like we're even a little squeezed in as we're in between our responsibilities and those more futuristic hopes and dreams. And so then we move into Libra season with the sun moving into Libra on September 22nd. That same day, Venus is going to move into Scorpio. And Scorpio is the deepest, most contemplative energy that we reach. It's like a hypnotic state. And Venus just really dives deep into the feelings, the emotions, how our relationships are going. A lot of times relationships go to really deep places in Scorpio when Venus is there. So we'll keep watching that planetary movement throughout the month. And September 26th brings another planetary change for Mercury. Mercury leaves the shadow, starts speeding up ahead, and comes into Libra on September 26th. And then our mind, our mental state, and we're going to need it after this Mercury retrograde in Leo, Virgo. We're going to need this moment to land in Libra and really look for the balance. It's been a hard working Mercury retrograde at this point because Virgo is a hard worker. And so with that retrograde there finishing up, I mean, there has just been a lot of adjustments. There's been a lot of change. There's been a lot of shift of thought. And so when Mercury hits Libra, it's going to be like a nice resting, balancing point there. And, this month doesn't actually end until the 2nd of October when we have our new moon in Libra, and that's our second eclipse, our solar eclipse what I'm considering September, but it's actually October 2nd. So you got a little freebie out of me moving into October there, but the month doesn't end until that eclipse happens anyways. All of the month of September is going to be built up, and we're not going to be really releasing it until we move into October and out of the eclipses. So yeah, there's a lot going on in September, especially with Mercury starting to gain speed and finish up that retrograde cycle. We've also, we're going to see both Venus and Mars set up for their retrogrades here in the next few months. So as Pluto gets moving and Neptune and Uranus both station direct over the next few months, October, November, December, we're going to see Venus and Mars, the cosmic lovers, both slowing down and entering their own retrograde cycles and taking us through that. So as far as next week goes, we'll have a big eclipse show next week talking about that Pisces full moon eclipse. And I guess that's about all I have for you this week. And I hope that you've had a good couple of weeks and really are enjoying the closeout of this summertime. And I'll be back next week here in the cosmic community. And I hope you have a really good day and a good week. And I'll talk to you soon. Peace. Thank you for listening to the Cosmic Community Podcast. More can be found at kpov.org/thecosmiccommunity.